Coming up next on Global Perspectives, I'll be talking with Salvador Vega from Fox Automotive Services. Stay tuned. Welcome to Global Perspectives. I'm Karen McDonough, Manager of International Family Outreach Programs with Anne Arundel County Public Schools. Today I'm talking with my guest, Salvador Vega, who is the owner-manager of Fox Automotive in Glen Burnie. Hi, Salvador. Nice to see you. I'm glad you were able to make it. And I really enjoyed our previous phone conversation. So I know we have a lot to share, and you have a lot that you want to share with our audience. So I'm glad that you're here, and I really you have an amazing story of success. Regardless of your background, obviously that's evident by your business, the way it has grown. But with all of my guests, I would like to always talk a little bit about your personal educational journey and what brought you to the U.S. and to end up doing what you're doing now. So
thank you.
You're welcome. So you're from El Salvador.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about your educational journey when you were in El Salvador. What was school like for you?
Thank you for inviting me, first and foremost.
Absolutely.
My education in El Salvador, so thank God I was able to go to a private school in El Salvador. It's called Liceo Salvadoreño.
Okay.
We're in the capital. I'm from San Salvador itself.
Okay.
And then down there, I was able to go through most. In my country, it's different. So we go through one private school our whole life. You don't have to change middle school, high school, and stuff like that.
Okay.
I went through that once I was done with high school, which is really good in high school. I was able to go to the university. I did one semester down in El Salvador in international relationships.
Okay.
And my English really comes from the beginning from working at a call center. So I used to work at a call center down in El Salvador when I was younger.
Okay.
It was my first job, and I was trying to get my feet wet and get some money down there. Mm-hmm. And that really helped me out a lot with the English and the fluency. And then when I was done with my first semester, I had the opportunity to come to the States.
Okay. So just for, those people who may be watching who don't know, in El Salvador, is it like elementary, middle, and high?
So it is, and it's not. So it is elementary, middle, and high, but in our country, it's you go to one school your whole time. So you have elementary in the same school, middle in the same school, high in the same school.
Okay.
There is certain divisions, like for example, when you turn from 9th grade to 10th grade, then you don't go in the morning anymore. You go in the afternoon,
Okay.
and then the kids go more so in the morning. The times, for example, younger guys like from 3rd grade under, they get out a little bit earlier than the guys from 3rd grade to 9th, and then the 9th to 12th, they go in the afternoon.
And is it, because I know sometimes, and we're going to talk a little bit more about, what we can do to help our families who come from El Salvador or other, parts of, Central and South America, to learn the differences in how to support their kids when they're here. So it's interesting when you're saying that they go in the afternoon. So it must be a shorter school day. They don't go as long as we do here.
It doesn't, and it's totally different. Like that's something that is really interesting that we're going to speak about. But in the short term, it's the timing is different because as a student, you sit on the same desk the whole day.
Okay.
You don't move from there. You don't go classroom to classroom. Teachers come to you in your school. So it makes it easier for you to be able to have longer periods of class. Let's say you have social studies for 40 minutes and the next one 40 minutes, and the only time really in between is 5 minutes as the teachers are moving from one place to another. You don't really have to sit all the children and get them all together, get them to pay attention because they're already focused from the first period.
Okay. And then you mentioned briefly about how you learned English. Did you start learning English from elementary school?
So in private schools in El Salvador, they give you English, but it's too basic, so I wouldn't say yes. I started learning when I was younger because I couldn't really use apples and pears and hi and goodbye and bathroom.
So it was just very basic.
Very basic. It's funny for me, that's why I was laughing, because the way that I learned English a lot, even though it doesn't sound normal, will be singing.
Okay.
I loved Eminem when I was younger.
Okay.
He was really like the thing.
Okay.
So back there, I wanted to sing like him. And the only way I was going to be able to sing like Eminem is saying all the lyrics, because he speaks full words when he sings.
Right.
So I had to start like reading his raps and reading it and repeating it just to try to sing it like him.
Okay.
That helped me with a lot of fluency. So my accent is not that thick. I really think because of music. I did a lot of that, and I love to see movies that come from America in English.
Okay.
Subtitles in Spanish if I had to, but I love to see their mouth move as the tone of their voice.
Okay. So in a lot of ways, I think it would be fair to say that you taught yourself or at least you wanting to learn.
I found the resources to learn. Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that many people don't know, and I think the audience and having watched me know that I'm originally from Mexico, but it is, and I don't know if it's still, because you're a lot younger than me, but when I was younger, American music was the more popular music.
Still, sort of.
So, I mean, even though we have a lot of really great musicians and singers that come from a lot of our countries, that American song, I mean, for me, it was not quite the Beatles, but, it was
But
that
it's
kind
also,
of,
it's like nowadays with all the Latino artists that are coming out, they have music in English. Like as an artist, if you don't have a song in English, or you haven't done a remix in English or a mixture of English, you're losing a big popularity of the people that you want them to see you, because you can't cross over to that. And just to be honest, if you want to do a let's say Latin American tour, it's not going to be as beneficial as if you do an American tour and you include North America in your tour. So you have to have some sort of English on your background when it comes to English. And when you talk to any musician, anybody who does music, they have them big boys in their mind as the Beatles, as Nirvana, as America really put a lot of the instruments and music into what the new careers are. Because now they're in our countries, I feel like they started doing it for the joy of music. America really knew how to do it the right way.
Make music a business. Okay, so when you were in school, was starting with high school, what did you, you said you went to university for international
studies.
International studies. Is that what you thought you wanted to do when you grow up? What did you think you wanted to do?
It's really funny because now, in this time of my life, I'm actually doing what I wanted to do, which is get involved with the community, get involved to helping others. So I was really leaning towards politics. That's why I chose that. I wanted to get into the politics to be able to have the power to make a change. That's always something that I loved. In my country, politician has a lot of power, and there's a lot of people who don't use it the right way. They use it the right way. It's really up to how perspective you want to see it.
That's all over the world.
That's all over the world. So I wanted to be part of that, to try to make a change in education, try to make a change in helping the lowest communities, and also the younger generations, because I consider myself young, and now I am a younger generation trying to be an entrepreneur and going out. I suffered a lot of different sacrifices and issues throughout my career that I really feel like if you have a mentor, you don't have to. It's not something everybody has to go through. If you have a way, a path, a program that can help, it will make you go further faster.
Right. And I think when you have less barriers to overcome, then you're right. You are able to go a little bit further. Was there something about school that you really liked and something that you didn't like? Like, what was your favorite part of school?
So for me, school was relationships. I loved the fact that I had so many like-minded people in the same room, that we were all trying to study for the same thing. We were all, like, all of our students, teachers, they know a lot. I personally, what I don't like from school, me personally, is homework. I'm not a homework guy. So I like to go to school and pay attention at the class, but then once I get home, I'm not like that lenient towards like sitting back down and doing the book stuff. And that's what I decided when I came to America. This is the beauty that I explain to a lot of kids. It's like, if you really are like that person, like me, it doesn't mean that you're not going to be successful. There are other trades, there's other ways to be able to be successful. And as I took a sabbatical after I got out of school, I worked that sabbatical. But I understand, I tell other people, and that during that sabbatical, if you learn how to do a trade while you're working, then it's going to benefit you in the long run. Versus me, I just went to do call center. So it wasn't really a trade. Once I was done with call center, went back to school, it didn't really
apply to a lot.
Apply too much.
So when you're saying that, it is interesting. I don't think a lot of people realize, and talking again about parents' expectations of their kids nowadays. In Mexico, I was like you. I was also very blessed to go to private school, but homework is a real thing, where there is an expectation that there is, an hour, 2 hours of homework is going to be part of your everyday. So even now, from this perspective, I get parents like, "What do you mean there's no homework? What do you mean there's so little homework?" Right nowadays, I think our school system, like you said, it is more designed where if kids are there, they're working hard. Yes, there is going to be some homework, but it's not such a huge burden as it is in a lot of our countries.
Down in our countries, they kind of teach you discipline through homework. And that's a big difference in between how the American system is different from the Salvadorian system or Latin American system. It's because while you're in school in America, they teach you that that principle more so of you're the one who walked to your own classroom. You're the one who goes get your own books. Like, you're going to a place where you want to learn your own. In our country, we're sitting there waiting for them to come teach us. So even as a kid, I've seen the difference in the psychology of the mind of, okay, my class is done. I know what class I have to do left. After, I'm going to run to the bathroom. I'm going to go my locker, get my stuff, get to my teacher, get there earlier if I need to talk to him. That's building that in you. In my country, you got your backpack next to you. You just pull up your next book and wait for the guy to show up.
Right.
So I think it's a different way, but it's the same principle that is being built into kids, just a different way. But like you said, we coming from El Salvador, if my kid comes home and says, hey, they didn't leave me homework because I'm doing really good.
Yeah.
My first, as a 35-year-old parent, will think like, no homework. Are you doing something wrong? Are you doing something wrong? Is something going on?
Right.
Because I don't remember my school having homework, and that's like a big thing where I want to get involved in, teaching our community. There is a difference in education from one country to another. There's a difference in the system. There's a reason why America does things the way America does it, and our countries do it the way we do it. They're both good, just that in the American system, they give you the option of being way more involved. And that's something I love. You guys have counselors in school, all these amazing things that as a parent, if you're not involved with your kid because you go 9 to 5, or you can have a 12 to 12, and you're working overtime, 2 jobs, you can have a day you can call the teacher and be like, hey, my day off is Wednesday. Can I show up after school? I wanna get involved with my student, and they'll be there. In our countries, that doesn't exist. You don't get the teacher's phone number. You don't talk to anyone. The only one you can go talk to is the principal if you have an issue. Or the teacher if they call you in. But other than that, you can't walk into a school and be like, I want to talk to all the teachers.
Yeah. No, it just doesn't happen. So you talked a little bit about school, and then you worked for a call center. How did you make your decision to come to the U.S., and what propelled you to come?
So, like most of us Latinos, the reason that made me come here was family. That's always one of the main goals. In my country, I come from a different El Salvador than the one that everybody wants to go today. You go El Salvador. Today's a beautiful place, and it has beaches, and it has Bitcoin, and all these amazing things going on. There's no more gangs going on in the streets. There's all those stuff got really, really, really taken care of, thank God.
A lot.
And when I came over, which was 10 years ago, it wasn't like that. So I was really ambitious. I wanted to do a lot. But I realized in that time in my country, when you were ambitious and you wanted to do a lot, you had to be careful with wanting to do a lot, because you can get the whiplash off the gangs or something going on. So I saw that, and I'm like, I'm putting so much effort in my life. I want to put my family forward. I want to change our generational wealth. I can't do it here. Then my mom was here. She gave me the opportunity of coming over to America. And I was like, okay, I'm going to leave everything I have behind, because that's something you always have to do if you're one of us. Leave everything you have behind and you come over to America. That's another hard transition moment. The first 2 years are the worst. For anybody listening to this, it's okay. First 2 years feel like 18 when I came over. By the time I was 20, I was still in that process of getting used to America. You don't know the roads. It's a highway. There's so many things that are just different. But the 2 first years were hard, and then is when you actually have to put your mind together and start working towards whatever you want to do.
Okay. All right. And then, did your mom live in Anne Arundel County, or where?
No, she lived in Beltsville.
Beltsville. Okay, so still Maryland.
Yeah.
What made you choose to settle in Anne Arundel County and your business?
So there comes the business. So it's interesting the way that it worked out. So I managed multiple small companies. I started brooming the back of a shop. I wasn't office guy.
Shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my first job was construction. That just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And then I found the second job that was like literally helping out as a helper in the back end of automotive shop.
Yeah.
So I was helping out there. I grew my way through asking. Like I tell a lot of people, if I had nothing to do or I was done with my work, I will go ask somebody who's doing something. And if they tell me, hey, can you do this for me? I wouldn't mind doing it, because that was just the person I like to be. I want to learn. Yeah. Moved my way up, and once I moved my way up, I went to multiple shops. And when we were looking with my ex-partner to open a shop, he knew Glen Burnie. I never even came to Glen Burnie before I opened the shop.
Okay.
He showed me the lot. I came over. I saw a vision. I felt like God put it in my way, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna listen to what I'm hearing. Right. And we opened the shop, and we started moving forward. I honestly never knew Glen Burnie existed, but I'm really, really thankful that I ended up in Anne Arundel County, because it's an amazing county for me. It's in between Baltimore, in between Laurel, in between a lot of different places. And for me, it's a niche that can actually be exploded. I see a lot of value in Anne Arundel County. Okay. We have a lot of diversity. Meanwhile, in other cities around it, it's not that diversified anymore. It's taken over majority on this or that culture. Right. I feel like Anne Arundel County still has a diversity of different types of people going to different
Absolutely.
schools.
Yeah.
And I'd love to be part of that. So I'm happy with Anne Arundel County itself. And now I actually live in Anne Arundel County.
Okay.
So it feels even better. There's a lot of help. There's a lot of programs around here.
And then and we'll talk a little bit more about your shop. So you started out with a partner. Is that still the business that you have, or has
No.
it morphed into?
So it's
your
morphed
own?
into my own business at this point, and thank God I can say we're planning on expanding at this point.
Okay.
We started off with a small $5,000 shop, 5,000 square feet shop, which is like a straight little bay. We thank God 2 years ago we expanded to have double the size, and then we added more services. That's when we partnered with Cat North.
Okay.
Because I was like, I want to start helping younger generations, and I'm a painter myself. I know how to paint,
Yeah.
and I know how to teach. I love to teach, honestly. And I've taught both of my painters came to work with me when they were 19 years old. Now one is 23, and he's a production manager at my shop. So he's learned from coming into being an Amazon guy to becoming a production manager who knows how to paint, fix cars, and all this stuff within 3 years.
Okay.
I hired another guy, his cousin, that came from El Salvador when he was 19. He's 21 now. He's about to turn 21, and he's already a painter. He can fully do a painting job. He's getting paid as such.
Right.
So when I saw that's possible, I was like, there must be other kids that want to learn in this community. In our automotive industry, our average employees are really high in age. Average employee for automotive industry is like 50.
Okay.
So you have like 7 more years before this 50-year-olds retire, and we're going to have a big issue on who's going to work on our cars.
Right. And who's going to be there to provide, all of the labor that, these growing shops, because whether it's a gas or an electric car, I don't think the car world is ever going to disappear, right? So I think that's really important.
If it's electric or if it's motor, it still has doors.
Right.
It still has headlights. It
It still can crash.
It still can crash. Exterior work always needs to
Right.
be done. So that's why I came in and was like, okay, I partnered with Cat North, went in there, saw an amazing.
Yeah.
I have hired 3 of the best high schoolers from Cat North every year. Like every year I hire one. The best Cat North guy comes to internship at the shop.
Okay.
So far the 3 of them stayed at the shop and they're working with us. So they've learned a lot.
So, and I think, ready to really talk about, for our audience, Cat North is the Center of Applied Technology North, and where we have an opportunity for students to learn, between automotive trades, marine trades, health careers, things having to do with technology. And what I think is special about what you're doing is that you're providing those kids, they come to you, what is called the certification that they come to you after they graduate from Cat North?
So once they come into the shop, we applied to them into an ICAR certification. There's a program like nationwide named ICAR.
Okay.
They give you certifications depending on the classes and the courses that you pass.
So they earn that with you, or they earn that at Cat North?
So they earn their own high school diploma at Cat North with a trade on automotive or a trade on body.
Right.
Once they come to my building, they do the 6-month internship. If they pass the 6 months with effort, it's not like hard. It's just about hard work and learning and being dedicated. Once you pass those 6 months, then I introduce you into ICAR for free. So the shop pays for your certification during ICAR.
The kids don't come to you with any certification. They have to earn that through the internship, and then they have that opportunity to go from there. In the process of you getting all these young people, I know you have some really, really great ideas of where you want to take that experience to the next level. So tell me a little bit about that.
So on the next level side, I have a lot of people at my shop that I trust a lot on. I really trust my employees. They've been with me for a long time, so I consider my shop a family. So we are a family-owned business because I say we're all family in the business.
Right.
So when it comes to that, all my peers, they're same like-minded as me. So we want to help other communities. We came from El Salvador. Most of us came from El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. We have the 3 countries in the shop.
Yeah.
And a Brazilian, so even Brazil. So we have all of them in the shop, and we all had the same issue in the sense of usually you come out of high school, and after you're done with high school, you go flip burgers or work construction or not really do anything for a year or two while you decide if you want to get into a student loan or if you want to go to college, or because most of our realities are we don't have the funds to be able to pay for it, or our parents don't.
Right.
So most people sit down for a while and they don't do nothing for a little bit. So we were like, okay, why don't we help them? So the goal was, okay, we want to help high schoolers. Well, I thought maybe high school is too late. So the next plan is going to be 8th graders and 9th graders of all Anne Arundel County. They can go to our website and they can apply to our Weekends with the Fox program.
Okay.
How this program works is that people donate their older vehicles to the shop and we keep them there. we take them into the shop and during 8 weekends. So let's say we have 10 kids. Out of the 10 kids, we're going to put 2 in each department. 2 painting, 2 body work, 2 putting cars together, 2 detailing, and 2 doing tent jobs. And we're going to teach them around this 8 weeks. We're going to rotate them so they're going to be twice in each station. So they can see how it feels, how the trade looks, how the trade is. And after that, once the 8 weeks are over, in the office, we're going to have the forms for you to apply to CAT North or CAT South. Because you're in 9th grade. So you're thinking about going to a trade school now. So we showed you what a trade is, what does it look like. If you're interested on it, you can just apply right here. We send it to CAT North, and you've already been part of the program. So it's going to help you with the acceptation program because you'll have credits for it. If you apply once you're in CAT North, we're working with CAT North to see if we can use Kids B days to be able to take credits by coming to work at the shop that you're already in the automotive program. That way you get hands-on experience. The only thing that goes in the flip side, let's say, is that once your kids are in the program, you're going to have to stay as a parent with them. At least one of the parents has to stay at the facility, which what that's going to help is during you're at the shop and your kids are learning, you're going to be learning too. We're going to have somebody from the CTE explaining how the educational system works, what things you're going to expect for a trade school, what can you expect from a high school. If you have questions, you can ask them there. So we're going to have like everybody learning type of situation on the Fox Weekends with the Fox. And we're trying to launch it by November. If all the logistics are in place, we should have that coming up soon.
All right, very good. And the I didn't ask you this earlier, but I'm curious. So where did Fox? How did you choose that as the
Fox
name
Auto Services?
Yeah.
So when I came into the Glen Burnie area, my first partner's company was named Fox Auto Glass. So he came and asked me, he was like, Salvador, do you have a preference with the name? And I was like, I'm not really good at putting names. I'll put Salvador or something on it. So I don't know. He was like, what do you mind if we keep the Fox? So I said, okay, we're going to honor it. Even though we're not partners anymore, the Fox just stayed with us and then I became the Fox. So in Glen Burnie, if you know, a lot of people know me as the Fox, not as Salvador. They don't know who Salvador is. They know the guy with the Fox logo on it.
So that's an interesting story. I really, really like that. And as you decided to, backing up a little bit, when you said when you came, you started construction and that wasn't for you. How did you end up with that very first job just sweeping in the back of an automotive shop?
My mom. So my mom had a friend and then she made some phone calls like, hey, my son doesn't like construction. He's complaining a lot. You need to get him to do something. He just came from El Salvador. He's willing to work. He's eager to work. And the guy said, okay, send him over. Let's see what he can do. And from that phone call to now, it's been a long way, but it's been really beneficial.
Very, very good. I really love what you were saying about helping young people. And then, yes, high school, but can we do something earlier? Because as a system, we know that because attendance is so important, if kids are not in a good habit of doing their schoolwork and going to school, sometimes it's really hard to reach them when they've gotten to high school. So the fact that you're reaching them in that 8th or 9th grade, I think that is really, really good. What other advice would you give either like brand new immigrant students or students who have already been here a little while and they're sort of floundering, they can't decide what to do or what path to take? What advice would you give a young person?
So for my young entrepreneurs or my young students or any young person out there, what I would really say that helped me, it's 1, be humble, 2, trust in God. That's always the main 2 things that I'll say. And then when it comes to what you can do other than having God in your life and being able to believe in it, would be work hard. And work hard is not just work hard on anything. Try to find somebody in your life that could mentor you. That's the whole reason why Fox is here with our big collision center. We deal with a lot of different insurance works and regular paint and all this stuff, but we pride ourselves on being the shop that you can come in and ask a question without being charged for it. You come in and you're like, hey, look, I had this issue with my car. I don't know what to do. I'll take a look at it. The team will take a look at it. They'll give you advice. And if we can't fix it, there's no hard feelings. We want to be here to guide you. So a good thing that I'll tell people is older people, younger people, it's all older people have lived through experiences. They've lived through things. So never keep your ears closed. Anybody that's older than you that's giving you certain type of advice, it doesn't mean you're going to follow exactly what he says, but there's some type of feeling in there because we've experienced things. As older generations, we can rely our experiences to younger generations. I just feel there's a big gap in if they would listen or not. And as a younger generation, we listen, we just do what we want type deal. But as long as we listen and we take it to account, That's what values. And there's a lot of good information, good people, counsel around the area that you should go and look for.
And I really like what you said about that, because I think, the reality is a lot of our young people, unaccompanied youth, they may come here and they may not have, they either don't have a family member or they're just reuniting with a parent that they left a long time ago, right? So I think the importance of listening to other people and having mentors. One of the things that really struck me that I think is super important, not just for our immigrant students or immigrant families, but earlier in our previous conversation, you talked about learning about finances and the importance of learning how to manage your money.
Yes.
Tell me about how you came to that idea, that how important it is for young people to learn how to manage money.
So it's to me, it came into a big decision, because it's like people don't realize how long life is. A lot of people say, oh, life is one and it's short. It's really long. It's 80 years. You have to know how to
If
live
you're
them
lucky.
if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But you have to know how to live them. So I told young generations, it's like, right now you don't have responsibility, so you should be able to be easier with your money, which means how I came to it is I had to manage other people's companies. So I had to manage their money to make sure that the companies will work smoother. And then I realized I'm going to apply the same business concept to my personal life, which is if you don't need it, don't buy it. There's a big difference between need and want, and you have to know how to differentiate what you need and what you want.
Right.
And then the only expenses that you should have are the ones that you need. And then you should have some money saved up, and the equal amount of money that you save should be the money that you should spend on things that you want. So you can't spend $800 on something that you want if you're saving $100. It should be the same way, at least until you turn 25, 26, that you're starting to try to live on your own, find your own place.
Right.
All that saved up money is going to help you take the best decisions, because a person who's in financial distress really tends to take bad decisions.
Right.
So as long as you have some backup and you feel safe with the money you have saved up, you should be able to move forward the right way.
Well, and I think that's always really hard. That, you hate to see people that are, have all the ambition, they have the drive, they have the skills, they have the work ethic, and then they don't have that foundation of how do you manage your money. I think that would be really, really just a tough spot to be in, to see somebody.
It is. I've seen a lot of people in that spot. And like I tell people, I do small business consulting. Like if you're a small entrepreneur and trying to start your business, you can reach me out through Instagram, you can DM me, and I can give you advice. I can spend some time talking to you. All these things are free, and I do them because I want to see people be entrepreneurs. I want to see people grow. I love something called progress. As long as I met you here, and then by knowing me, you got here, I have a smile on my face. I'm happy. I don't need you to pay me anything.
Okay.
And more with younger generations, because I've seen a lot of people jump into things, and they jump in with everything they have.
Right.
Sometimes it's not the best thing. Sometimes you have to jump in with what you have to jump in, and keep what you don't have to spend, just in case this doesn't go right. You can go back and live a life. Most people jump like horns in, and then by the time it doesn't work, or they didn't have the mentorship, it was their first time, they're sitting like, I never want to do that again. But you shouldn't be scared.
Well, and then that kills the drive, right, to keep going, because I think if your dream gets squashed, then some people don't recover from that. Well, Salvador, we're near the end of our time. I'm really, really glad we had a chance to talk, and I'm super glad that you're here. So thank you for that. And hopefully some of the people listening will take some of the advice that you've shared with us. So thanks again for being with us at Global Perspectives. Until the next time, I'm Karen McDonough.